Hello. I wanted to share with you a couple of really simple tools that you can use to help yourself get out of the whirlpool of worry. I use a lot of marine analogies. Here's some fishing floats that my husband likes to use as decoration when he finds them on the beach. Living in a coastal community, here we go. Anyway, I want to share these with you because they've come up a couple times in the last couple days with some of the coaching clients that I work with, and I'm sure that if it's coming up for them, they are not the only ones. And so I wanted to share this with you as well. So I'm actually going to break up this video into two different videos so that it's a little bit more digestible. So definitely keep your eyes open for the other corresponding part of this. And so, okay, so here we are talking about the whirlpool of worry. And it happens to the best of us, where we can get into this looping thought pattern around worry. And it doesn't even really much matter like what it is in particular we're worrying about. These strategies are pretty universally applicable. But what I see in a lot of the people that I work with is like, second guessing themselves about like interactions they had, or, just worried about things that are happening, either currently happening or happening in the future, getting stuck into like worst case scenario thinking and that kind of stuff. And okay, the first technique that I am going to describe here, it's like a three-part question, three-part process. That's 3 questions for self-reflection. Just letting it be messy. Thank you for letting me be imperfect here. So this is partly because a lot of the time, when something happens, and especially if we start second guessing ourselves about like what happened, we can really get down these rabbit holes of like, oh, like this person said that thing, and then that must mean this, and da 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 da. And, before you know it, like, for example, with the person that I was talking to today, they were sharing that, it was bringing up feelings of like not being good enough and being like worried if this other person was wanting to, break off connection with them and all this kind of stuff, and when in the reality they could see that that was probably kind of like going a bit overboard about it, but they still, this worry was kind of plaguing them and keeping them up at night and, just making life not as pleasant as it could be. And so without actually also getting to any kind of concrete thing about what they could do about it. So this technique, these 3-part questions, helps to, I want to say like, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because we all start to, we all view the world through the lens of our own bias, and we can make assumptions, and sometimes they're just not accurate. And so question number 1, what am I making this mean? What am I making this mean? This thing happened, and like, am I making this mean that I'm a terrible person, or that they're a terrible person, or that, the world is going to end, or whatever, what am I making this mean gives you the opportunity to really clarify for yourself, like some of the beliefs that might be coming up, some of these like patterns, ways of thinking that oftentimes are just like habitual patterns that we can get into. And so what am I making this mean? And again, you're looking at all of this self-reflection through a lens of compassion and curiosity, setting aside any self-judgment for now. So what am I making this mean? Question number 2, what else could it mean? And this is where there's the invitation to get very expansive and broaden the perspective beyond like our own meaning making. As humans, we are meaning making machines. But at the same time, like, stepping away from the meaning that we might be assigning to this thing and letting ourselves imagine like what might the other possibilities be. You know, for example, if someone hasn't responded to a message that you've sent them, you know, you might be making it mean that like, oh, but, you know, maybe they're mad at me or, you know, this, that, or the other. But something else that it could mean is like, well, maybe they lost their phone, or maybe their account got hacked and they've temporarily been locked out of it so they can't even access your message. You know, like, who knows? There's like a whole world of possibilities of what else this could mean. And so it can be helpful to just like give yourself permission to like step back for a moment and like ponder some of those possibilities of what else this could mean. And then part 3 is, how might I make this meaningful? How might I make this meaningful? And so this question invites us to turn the insight that we've uncovered into action. And this is where we can start to actually take like proactive steps to honor what we've uncovered. And so, for example, you know, one of the examples from the work that I've been doing in the last couple of days with people is that this person kind of uncovered that, like, you know, they had an interaction with somebody in which, like, you know, they were assigning a certain meaning to like their interpretation of what the other person was thinking, that led to their actions and that kind of thing. And so they were recognizing that, like, for them, the aligned action of like how to make it meaningful was just to be able to actually initiate a conversation with that other person, just to kind of clarify and help to reduce any misunderstandings, and just to see like where they were coming from, and to be able to give them an opportunity to feel like seen and heard, and also for them to be able to express, you know, some of what came up as far as like what they were making it mean for themselves, just to kind of like check the accuracy and all of that kind of stuff. So so then of course that then transpired to another part of the conversation where we were talking about actually working up the courage to initiate that conversation. And that's a whole other subject that I'm really happy to talk about. And I also have like a really simple 3 steps to help boost our inner courage and to help us actually like follow through with the inner wisdom that we uncover. But that's for another time. So if you, you know, I have some notes about that I would happily send to you. If you're interested, you can email me, dove@metadove.ca, or you can, you know, comment below if you want me to make a video about that. I'd be happy to do that. And yeah, and so again, these 3 M's of meaning can help act as like a, you know, like a life preserver or like a rope to like grab onto if you find yourself stuck in the whirlpool of unhelpful thoughts where you're spiraling down, worrying about, you know, whatever it is. Like, I invite you to, you know, try it in whatever scenario you're worrying about, and see what unfolds. You know, what am I making this mean? What else could it mean? And how might I make this meaningful? All right, so that is one tool that I use all the time and find super helpful. And it seems like everybody that I share it with also really finds a lot of value in it. So I would be super happy to hear how it works out for you. And of course, if you ever want any personalized support, you know, from me specifically, I'd be happy to talk about that as well. So do have a look for the other corresponding video to this one, and we'll see you there.